This video exists because recently I was asked by a colleague of mine at work about what I thought about India. And the truth is that if this person had asked me what I thought about India about, I want to say, 17 years ago, in 2008, I would have said India is an imperfect socialist republic that has largely been on the track to become something better than what it has been in the last decade or so. That means that India was truly on a path to economic prosperity up until the point we were hoodwinked into voting for the current ruler of India, Mr. Narendra Modi. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that all of India's problems are a direct result of this man's actions. I will assert that a lot of it, and a lot of this big impending disaster, is currently being propagated by the result of this man's actions. So it's been a little over 10 years actually, 2014, when we first had the BJP come into power and we had Mr. Narendra Modi and his fellow gangster Amit Shah come into power. We have seen the erosion of our democracy at a scale never seen before. Okay? The thing is that not being a democracy is not a bad thing. China has not been a democracy, and yet it has superseded us in every single facet. Yes, it has its limitations, but it has an industry that is unstoppable, so much so that other Western nations are scared of this one country. It's scared of the country. The tariffs by Trump, the tariffs on Chinese EVs, the ban of TikTok. Yes, TikTok may have been taking your data, but at the core of it, it is because these countries are afraid of China's supremacy in the manufacturing space. My point is that it's okay to be a dictatorship or a pseudo-democracy, but what is not okay is when we take this ideal that we were a socialist republic and that we are a democracy and then mangle it to a point where we continue to maintain that we are a democracy, but we get none of the benefits of actually being in a dictatorship. In the last 10 years, Mr. Modi has centralized power, meaning that all of the autonomy that state governments had essentially does not exist anymore. Case in point, what is happening in New Delhi at the point, which is a travesty against the political process of India. You cannot put a sitting chief minister in jail and for no reason. Like, you have just ruined him. Do you know how much of an emotional toll it probably would have taken sitting in jail for committing no crimes? I don't understand. And people are okay with this. Like, why do I not see more people standing up and saying all of this is wrong? This party controls the media. It controls your brains because of all the religious polarization it's done about how Hindus are the best and Hindus deserve Hindustan. No. Nobody deserves India. I will put it this way. India is meant to be a socialist republic where people of all caste and creed are welcomed. And we were meant to be a secular socialist republic, but you sit there in your armchairs and say that, oh, India's not supposed to be secular, and it was never in the constitution. And go fuck yourself, honestly. Because people who think that politics and religion need to mix, you are brain dead. That's right. You are brain dead. And the reason why this idea was even suggested in the first place is because, oh, it's moral. No, go fuck yourself. You don't need to be religious to be moral. You don't need to be religious to have faith. That's a crutch. Christianity, Judaism, these are all religions that have their faults. But the reason why the people who follow these religions are not fanatical is because they understand the difference between what is right as human and what is, probably something you don't need to follow outside of their religion. Like, if one day somebody puts a quote in the Bible saying Jesus Christ said kill all the Jews, no, they're not going to do that. At least most of them won't do that because that's just wrong. Then we continue to propagate the whole thing of cow vigilantism. Like, oh my god, the cow, what the fuck, cows can't be killed. They're animals, and if you view it from an animal cruelty perspective or an environmental perspective, absolutely, that's a logical thought to have. But to do it because it's in the name of religion, go fuck off. Fuck right off. Like, honestly, You have the audacity to say that other religions and other people can't do something. You have the audacity to complain about how China has that Yulin festival. You have the audacity to say that, oh my god, they don't eat pork, when you are doing the exact same thing by protecting cows and drinking cow piss. The fact that there was even a discussion about cow piss as a balm to COVID should suggest to you that all is not well in this country. And then you have the myriad economic behemoth projects that this government has taken that have ruined the economy to a point where I don't even know how we can say that we are in a good place. Yes, people have gotten richer. Yes, people have come out of poverty. But giving people free food and free shit is not, and I repeat, it's not a substitute for actual political progress. You need to educate people. You need to bring them to a point where they can fend for themselves, because as the saying goes, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll eat for his lifetime. You can't do shit like that when all you do is demonetization. You decide to invalidate 86% of currency overnight. You say that we're now introducing a goods and services tax for no fucking reason. You don't produce enough jobs, and the jobs you do produce pay nothing, and I mean nothing. Like, if people like Narayan Murthy and S.N. Subramaniam, by the way, CEO of Infosys and chairman of Larsen & Toubro, if these retards have the audacity to say that Indian workers should work 70-hour work weeks, 90-hour work weeks, you should work on Sundays and not sit, why do you want to sit at home and stare at your wife? You have the audacity to say all this, back it up. Pay me $550,000 a year. I'll do it. I'll work for you. 7 days a week, I'll work 10 hours. Maybe I'll take a vacation day here or there. But I'll do it. But if you pay me $20,000 a year and expect me to do that kind of work for that kind of money, you can go fuck yourself. Honestly, and Narayan Murthy, you too, you cross-eyed old fuck, go fuck yourself. All of you, just go fuck yourself. You have no idea what it means to be a normal person in a developing nation, because you are so far beyond what is a livable wage and what is reality, that you just say the most outrageous shit because you think you should say. You're like all you uncles on the internet are the fucking same. And then that's the economy. Then you have the finance minister who's sitting up there doing God knows what the hell, taxing the shit out of the brokest people on this country's surface, and everyone's like, oh my god, that's gonna help. No, it's not gonna help. People don't want to do business in this country because doing business is too fucking difficult. The reason why software companies and all these companies in the US, they scaled so fast and they grew, is because they didn't have a lot of regulation. Yes, it's a gray area and a lot of it is kind of terrible what they're doing now, but they scaled and they built the economy because they didn't regulate the shit out of them. And we need less regulation, not more. Okay? Then there were the farmer protests. It was the Pegasus spyware scandal. It was the EVM issues when we had the elections. Then the constant worry about women's safety. The Hathras gang rape case. I don't want to say that rape has been a problem because of Modi. Rape has been a problem in this country for decades. I don't think we are doing enough to educate the youth, especially men, about what consensual sexual relations mean, because we don't like talking about sexual relations in the country. I don't know why. This is a perfectly natural thing for humans to do. It's how you were fucking born. But no, we sex, oh my god, that's the worst thing on the planet. It's not the institutionalized idea that sex should be something that is taught and understood by society. No, it's something that should be shoved under the carpet and just been like, nah, we don't talk about this stuff. And you continue to sit there and you say, oh my god, the economy is doing so well, the economy is doing that, the economy is doing this, when the purchasing power of the average Indian, if you look at nominal GDP, it's just $2,500. And if you look at, from a per capita standpoint, it's somewhere between $7,000 to $8,000, which is okay. But it's still very, 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 very bad when you compare it to the rest of the world. Look at China. They are supposed to be our biggest driver. They are at $12,000 a week. Chinese, the Chinese are the largest spenders on luxury goods. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but I'm saying that they have the option. We do not have the option. Luxury is not a thing in India. Like, at least it's a thing, but it's not as big a thing. And I'm not saying luxury is the benchmark of what constitutes a good economy, but it is an indicator that the people who are spending this kind of money feel secure in spending that money. We do not have the kind of supreme will that everyone in this country, or a lot of people in this country, seem to think that we have. And I don't know where we've gotten this idea that, yes, we can do everything because we are Hindus and our government will take care of everything and Modi is the best. And all at the same time, you have essentially belittled the one person who was possibly the one saving grace this country had. May he rest in peace. It was Manmohan Singh. Brilliant economist, quiet politician. You mocked him, no end. And, he may not have talked all that much. He never shied away from a press conference. When we have our good old-fashioned Mr. Modi sitting there, barely taking press conferences, yet still somehow controlling the media, and doesn't even speak any English. Like, I feel like if you're a statesman, you need to know at least one international language. It doesn't have to be English. German, French, Russian, something to say that you are an international figure. What part of Modi is international, except the fact that he wears overpriced kurtas and he goes on fancy trips and sees Giorgia Meloni? Do you think Giorgia Meloni and Modi talk about anything by themselves? Or do they constantly need translators? Like, the beauty about being a Western politician is that you speak an international language by default. In India, the default is you don't speak an international language. Like, no other politician speaks Hindi outside of India, and at least not in political conversations. What a dumb thing to be proud of. Like, you are proud of the fact that your prime minister cannot go up to, let's say, Justin Trudeau, shake his hand and be like, hey, how are you? How's your wife? That's not a thing to be proud of. That's not what a statesman should represent. I don't agree with a lot of what S. J. Shankar has to say about our external affairs ministry and our external affairs policies. But I will give him credit that he's outspoken, he speaks English, and he deserves the position where he is. You put a man like that in power as a display of what the country is capable of, then it's understood that, you have some national pride. The reason why I liked Manmohan Singh is because he was a statesman, which is what this man is not. And it's not going to change if we continue to feed into this frenzy of religion, of overwork, of refusing to change beyond the status quo that has prevailed in the country since 1947. If you want change, then we need to do something crazy. And it's not going to be done by the likes of Narendra Modi. It's not going to be done by the likes of Rahul Gandhi. It has to come from someone else. We need India's Nayib Bukele. We need that kind of person who's willing to go all the way and commit to making effective change in the country. Until that happens, it's going to stay the same. There will be mild improvements. Yeah, you may get a couple of new apps on your phone that help you pay your tax, which is now suddenly at 55% of your gross yearly income. But good luck to you if you think that this current government is going to change anything except ruin our definition of democracy. Everything about this needs to change. And until then, I will maintain that India is not a global superpower. It is a large economy because we have so many people, and much of its economy functions like Alibaba or AliExpress work in the commercial space. They just sell a lot of shit for very little money. So it's the same. We have a lot of people earning very little money, and we say we're a $1 trillion economy or a $3 trillion economy. It's a fallacy. And until we understand that, and until we understand that nothing can come until we have a proper revolution, we're going to stay stuck here.